All right, we coined a new term. It's called maneuvers, and these are a bunch of tricks that you can do with your camera that make really, really neat looking either videos, in some cases stills. First one we'll start is point of interest, and this is one that you always read about in the marketing materials because it's so cool. And basically what it is, you choose something that you find interesting and your Maverick Pro will circle around it indefinitely. You go to the front.
Yep, there's an icon on the touchscreen that looks like a controller. Actually, it looks like the old controller. Tap it, and that will bring up 2 screens worth, 6 per screen of gestures. So then we'll swipe over, and there's point of interest.
So you click on point of interest, and what it needs to know is, what is the point of interest? So we're gonna go ahead and do a demo and show you exactly how to set this up. So you can see here, we have the camera aimed at the golf cart, and it is circling the golf cart. Now, why you would want to get a roof shot of a golf cart? Well, that's beyond me, but that's not what we're here to discuss. What we're really here to discuss is that you can do it, that it will circle endlessly, automatically around this golf cart, capturing every side of this elegant golf cart.
And you can speed it up or slow it down just by sliding. So if you wanted to fly faster around that golf cart, for whatever reason, it is now flying 6 miles an hour around that golf cart.
Now, if you want to slow it down, you can also change the altitude. You can have it sweep up, which is kind of a cinematic effect you've seen in movies very often.
And you still have control over the gimbal.
We've already talked about tripod mode. That's another one you choose the exact same way. It's a very, very slow mode that is great for new pilots, but it's also if you really want to take some of those cinematic type images, it can move your drone very, very slowly, which would be harder to do when you have a joystick that wants to go zooming off. Now, a really fun one, I like this next one called waypoints. Waypoints, basically, your drone will fly between points that you choose. Another one that gets a lot of buzz is the active track. So the active tracking will basically track an object. So it could be someone riding a horse. You're not going to fly right over them, of course, but it will follow behind them. It could be someone driving in a car. It will basically follow you wherever you want to go. You just have to literally tell it what's the object that you want it to follow. You literally drag out a selection around it and say, this is the object, and it will automatically track. Now, if you're driving fast, you can put it in sport mode. It will go up to 40 miles an hour, but I think in most cases you're probably going to want to track something a little slower. But it would be wonderful for things like horses or someone running and jogging. And again, you're not going to fly right over them. You're not going to fly near them because you don't want to endanger them, but you can follow well behind them.
And you know, the thing about the tracking and active track and follow me modes is they're not designed for someone trying to outsmart them. In other words, if you started zigzagging and trying to, dodge it, you will. It will just lose interest, and you're no longer a point of interest, and it'll just sit there. So it's for active tracking, something that is moving. It could be moving fast, but not moving sporadically.
So there are a number of different modes that you can really use to make your movie making and your photo taking a lot more fun. Just remember this, when you're doing any of these modes, don't forget to focus and tap. Don't forget to lock your exposure, because if you're doing something where you're sweeping from bottom to top and stuff, your exposure is going to change a lot while you're flying. You might want to pick a focus spot and lock your exposure so you don't see that change happening. It looks kind of amateurish to see the exposure of your image changing all the time while you're flying. So pick something in an area that you like, lock it in, and then hit the exposure lock button so you don't see it changing while you're flying.